Welcome to CS Week Marketplace, third Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern webinar series. CS Week Marketplace offers fresh perspectives and strategies presented monthly by knowledge specialists from the Conference 38 Platinum and Gold sponsors. I am John Sild and I'm with CS Week. CS Week and Conference 39 will be held from April 27th through May 1st, 2015 at the Charlotte Convention Center, Charlotte, North Carolina. Please note that our call for white papers is now open. Refer to our website, csweek.org, for further information. This program will be recorded and available for playback, as are our other archived presentations found under the educational venue third Tuesday link on our website. Today's program is CenterPoint Energy Innovations, Call Center Predictive Analytics Engine. We're glad to have Mr. Todd Hall, Senior Principal, Industry Value Engineering Utilities with SAP online, and he can take it away.
Thanks, John. Sure appreciate that introduction. Today, as we all know, in the utility industry, we have a number of activities going on. The activities primarily are significant challenges not only to our operating teams, but also our financial teams, as well as executive leadership within the utility. We're seeing compression of revenue and margins across the industry. We're seeing a proliferation of regulatory enforcement around the utility industry at the federal, local, state levels. We're also seeing heightened levels of competition, whether that competition is a direct level of competition or it's competition from generation resources. All of that is changing the models by which utilities operate. The other thing that we're seeing, I think, is that gives us greater impact, and we'll address specifically today, is the role that our customers play in utilities. The role and the engagement of utility customer has changed in my 30 years in the utility industry, and we're seeing a more active, more participative role and engagement with our customers and our utilities with their customers. In many instances, what we're seeing is utilities now have customers that see them not as just a utility, but quite honestly as a service provider and equal to all other service providers in their local community. So it's now time for utilities to step up and provide a more insightful, more engaged response in relationship management and relationship building with customers across. With all that said and all that happening, we also see now a maturing in analytics and a maturing in how analytics are utilized not only in the front field level, but also in the executive suites. SAP has recently introduced in the last 4 years SAP HANA, which is allowing utilities to take on diverse data sources across the enterprise and be able to provide deep insights into how analytics is utilized to enrich and deepen the relationship with customer. With that said, we have an opportunity today to hear how all of this is being pulled together at CenterPoint in Houston, Texas, as well as their service areas, which Raj will get into in just a moment, around the country. Raj Erode has been with CenterPoint since 2010 as an IT architect within the information delivery and analytics team. Currently, he is leading the SAP HANA installation and projects implementation. He has well over 18 years of extensive IT experience in designing and developing, supporting application solutions in the areas of utilities, CRM, aerospace, and defense as well. So a wide casted net of experience and knowledge in analytics and data management. With that being said, Raj, I'd like to turn the floor over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd, for the introduction. So as Todd mentioned, I'm Rajkumar, Erode, IT architect, CenterPoint Energy. So who is CenterPoint Energy? So CenterPoint Energy is an energy delivery company. We deliver electricity to the city of Houston, around 2.3 million customers, and we also deliver natural gas across 6 states, serving over 3 million customers. Overall, we have around over 5 million customer base, and our assets total more than $22 billion. So today I'm here to talk about our predictive analytics engine that we developed as part of our customer vision program, and how HANA helped us achieve some of those goals and transform our business processes. So Todd gave a good brief of how customer expectations have evolved over a period of time, and with more expectations, our company also sought to completely overhaul the experience of customers that when we do business with them. So in early 2012, CenterPoint decided to implement Customer Vision Platform. Basically, it's a platform to provide an unified view of customer across all lines of business. Basically, we have more lines of business like electricity, gas, and also sometimes we have pipelines. So basically, we want to engage in a consultative approach to enhance the customer experience when customers reach out to CenterPoint. So as part of that project, SAP HANA was recommended to meet some of the marketing and call center business requirements, which I will be going through in detail in the next few minutes. And in addition to it, we also had our SAP Business Warehouse, which was in a traditional method. We also sought to migrate it to BW on HANA as part of the reporting and analytics for this project. So how are we using HANA? So we, as one of the early adopters of HANA, we sought to use it for SAP BW on HANA, and also in addition to it, we started using it as an application accelerator for CRM PAE, which PAE stands for the Predictive Analytics Engine, and also the CRM High Volume Segmentation, which is used for creating targets and for the campaign management as part of CRM. So the Predictive Analytics Engine on customer data. So what is it? So it's basically to predict what might be the likeliness of the customer call. So think like there is a call coming into our call center. So we would like to predict what might be the likeliness of the customer call. It might be a move-in, a high bill scenario, or disconnects, or any of these reasons that's part of our high call volume. So we wanted to predict why the customer might be calling. So this was one of the basic or one of the critical requirements as part of our customer vision program. And the reason that we wanted to do that was it will potentially reduce the call handling time of the agent. In addition to it, it also is going to give more informed information for the agent to basically improve our customer experience or customer engagement when they call us. In future,
Raj,
it also will. Sorry.
Raj, I'm sorry. This is. I don't mean to interrupt. I apologize. Are you sharing your slides? I apologize for the interruption.
Sorry, my mistake.
Raj, you want me to load the deck I have here?
Or give me the presenter rights. Can you please?
Okay, hold on just a moment.
Are you able to see my screen now?
There we go. That's perfect.
Okay, sorry about that.
Full screen.
Yeah, thanks, Todd.
Yeah. To full screen. There you go. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I apologize for the interruption.
Thank you. Sorry about that. So let me start again. What is the Predictive Analytics Engine? So basically, we wanted to predict the likeliness of the customer call. When a customer is calling, we want to understand what might be the reason he is calling, so that the agent will have more information and also have potentially he'll have more information about why he might be calling. So it might be some of the scenarios that we had in our requirements was about high bill, disconnects, outages, etc. So basically, by predicting why the customer might be calling, it potentially reduces the agent's call handling time because he will have more information about the customer on hand. And also, it allows them to engage with the customers in a more informed and intelligent way. In the future, we want to communicate proactively to the customer, basically by understanding what basically is on his historical contacts, we can proactively communicate with them. So the process is currently designed in the SAP Customer Relationship Management CRM, and all the rules are built inside the BRF framework. And a HANA database was added to this process to make this a reality. I will go through what is the reason and why we used HANA for this one, but also give more information about what Predictive Analytics Engine does. So what we did was, as part of our Customer Vision platform in 2012, we wanted to understand the call volume distribution by call type. And we identified the top 8 categories like reconnect, disconnect, pay my bill, CWR, move in, move outs, high bill scenarios. HSP is our home service plan, which is in Minnesota, and outages and street light connections. These were the top 8 scenarios why we had more call volumes. So what we did was we took this eight types and named it as Super 8 process, worked with the business, had design thinking sessions, challenge sessions on to build rules so that we can build a framework or rules scenario by which we can predict the likeliness of the calls. And also we had like almost 4 to 6 systems where we need to get this data, because it's not only our SAP system, so our electric customers are still in our CAS, Customer Information System, which is on mainframes. SMART is our home service plan system, which is on DB2 mainframe. IVR is a separate system. SAP ECC has our service orders, customer information on gas, as well as now as part of the CRM platform, we included all the customers from electric. Outage is in a separate system. So we had almost 6 data sources from which the data needs to be read before these decisions or likeliness the predictions can be made. And we introduced the HANA system as a repository to store all the information that's required for this BRF Plus or the rules framework to access. The reason we introduced the HANA system was due to the volume of data that it has to go through in a few seconds. The goal was to complete all of these processes within 5 seconds, because otherwise it basically increases the agent's handling time and the agent is waiting on the call for more information about the customer. So we introduced the HANA system to make this a reality. So there were like basically 2 types of search queries. Like one was a pre-calculated data storage and the other one is a real-time scenario. So pre-calculated data storage, for example, it might be the percentage increase in the bill amount or even the gas prices. Basically, it's the attributes of the customer that don't change during the daytime. So what we do is we run a batch process overnight and calculate these attributes. I believe it's around 60 to 70 attributes that we calculate for each customer, and then place it in the HANA database for further read when the call comes in. Another scenario was the real-time data storage, which is like if data that changes frequently during daytime, like payments, service order appointments, outages, low income status, and there are many examples. So in these scenarios, you need a real-time read to the source system. So what we did was we did a real-time replication, but most of the data resided in SAP ECC. So we thought, okay, let's do a real-time replication between ECC and the HANA accelerator platform so that reads can happen fast. And another scenario that we had to use, the reason we wanted to use HANA was some of the tables were like large volume of data. Like it had like almost more than billion or the 2 billion records, like the invoices or the billing data of the customers. had more than 1 billion records. So what we did was we made a real-time replication into the HANA platform. Basically, the HANA platform will hold the data up to date. Whenever the call comes in, we can read the HANA database instead of going into the source system. So what happens is when a call comes in, the input is a contact account, and the BRF Plus does all these rules framework, reads HANA, and then presents the predictive process to the call center agent. So this is an example of the screen on what the agent sees immediately in a few seconds, like in 2 or 3 seconds from the call coming in. So you can see there's a predictive process that shows a list of values. Underneath, it's going to list out what might be the likeliness of the call. In this example on the screen, you can see that it's a high bill scenario. So the PAE predicted it might be a high bill scenario. And on the right side, it's still for each of these scenarios, it has Super 8 process. It has more information about why the PAE thinks this is a high bill. For example, it says like the total bill, current bill is $165, and the last invoice was $85. Basically, it's a 65% increase from previous bill. And also, it gives more information about how many times he contacted in the last 30 days. When was his high bill case when was the last high bill case was created? So basically, from an agent's perspective, it gives them a lot of information about the customer without for them to go and look for it in other places. This information comes from different systems. One other thing that we did was link all this information to their source system directly with single sign-on. Basically, if he wants to look at the invoice, he can click on the invoice, and then it takes them to the billing system or the ECC system, wherever system is, where the billing information resides. So it also reduces the number of clicks that the agent needs to do, or the number of systems he or she has to log in as in the past. Overall, the process was defined so that we reduce the number of clicks as well as give more information to the agent, and also that itself basically will reduce the agent's handling time and also gives them more information about the customer. So I'd like to show a 2 to 3 minutes video of how this process works. So in this scenario, this is a simulation. It's not our real live system of the production system. So we are just simulating a call coming in. So we cannot directly go and give a call. So we are simulating a call. So this is a business partner that's assumed that he is calling in. So the process works now, and then it already predicted, it gives you a prediction. And this scenario is basically a high bill scenario. And the agent can go through what might be the information it does. So again, it's another scenario. So he sees that 19.77% of last month's bill is more than last month's bill. And also it gives them like how many heating degree days, how many high bill cases he had in the last 13 months, is still open, or what was the last time he did. So once they click on it, it basically takes them to the high bill case that was in the last 13 months. So this is same as what I explained earlier, that it basically takes to each of those transactions by just clicking on those screens. This is another scenario. Again, I think it's a high bill, but in a different rule. Basically, this says the GCA is 100% more. So last year it was and then also this gives a nice information that the billing period, 2 billing periods are included in this invoice. For some reason it had so that's why the customer might think it's a high bill scenario. So this prediction, this example shows you a high bill scenario as well as a disconnect, reconnect. So it also gives you why it thinks it's a high bill. And the payment plan ended in so basically the rate changed for the customer. So this example is a move-in, move-out. So we already had a move-in scheduled, so it went through the framework, and then so now when he clicked on it, it basically takes him directly to the contract management, and he can go and look at the actual move-in document when he is supposed to go inside. So now we have all this information. Again, this is another example. Seasonal customer is another example that we always get a call. A lot of customers, like based on season, they just move in and move out. They just disconnect. Basically, it's a disconnect, reconnect. But instead of doing a disconnect, reconnect, they do a move in, move out. So this, the seasonal customer is a good example, right? So we can now basically, if we understand that he is a seasonal customer, so we can give them either tell them that there are some other plan options that they can use, or the marketing team can come up with a better plan process for these kind of customers, instead of having a move in and a move out process for every 2 months or 3 months this customer going through. And we have a lot of more seasonal customers in our customers who we are serving. So this is another move in, move out scenario. So now this one is a disconnect reconnect example. Like so now it shows you there was a security deposit waived for this person, and he is requesting for a disconnect reconnect. Now it takes you to the actual. So and also this is another example of disconnect reconnect. It gives you like 2 return checks. So basically we need to do some other information for this customer for him to move in. And this one is a home service plan example. So it gives you the order numbers, what is the order that is supposed to, and then we also say that it's a missed appointment for whatever reasons. So that might be one of the reasons he might be calling us. So this example is an outage. So it says like there is an outage case reported, and this is real time, right? So we need to know that there was an outage has been reported in the last minute or so, and that's the reason he is calling. So basically that gives an idea how the predictive analytics engine works, and some of the facts on our what we did in the predictive analytics engine is, so there were like total 116 dynamic data points that was identified from 5 systems as part of the Super 8 process. So whenever there is a call, basically the rules framework has to go through the 116 dynamic points and has to complete this in less than 5 seconds and provide the information to the agent. And also we also added one more thing, that it's possible to turn on and turn off the PAE. This is the first time something like this has been developed, and we developed it as part of our project. So we wanted to make, like, we wanted to have an option of turning it on and off, because in case of PAE is predicting things not in the right way, so we wanted to have that process turned off, and so that we can fix the process before moving forward. So that's a very good option that we have now. And also basically I should act as a one-stop shop for all the agents. So all the messages, we went through like a lot of challenge sessions before coming up with all these messages. And like I said, it takes 3 to 4 seconds to get the data from 30 plus functions across 5 systems. So we had 14 tables that are downloaded as part of SLT. Most of them were real-time scenarios, and I think 3 or 4 of them were large tables, and it all was residing in the HANA's database. So how did HANA help us, right? So initially when we did without HANA, when we tried to do something like this in our system, it took almost 90 seconds for the process to finish and come back. So when we started using the HANA database with all these SLTs and SLT tables being in place, it reduced to just less than a second. So it was almost a 9,000% improvement. In other words, I would say, like I usually say, this basically HANA made it a reality for PA to be functional. Otherwise, it was a good design on paper, but using HANA, we were able to make it as a reality. And as per the process, I already mentioned about it, basically we reduced the number of clicks from 14 clicks to 2 clicks, thereby reducing the handling time. So basically the process itself was designed in such a way to reduce the call handling time. So last thing is we've been live for the last, I think, more than 2 months now. So we are having some good impacts on the system. So it was a phased rollout, and we are having good feedback and on how this PA is working. And so we are looking forward to get some results on what are the improvements that we are getting out of the PA system. The next thing I want to talk about was the customer segmentation. So one of the major things that we implemented as part of the CRM was the call center and the customer marketing modules. So one of the requirements for marketing is to create customer segmentations. So basically, the CRM segment builder is a transaction that helps them create targets based on different attributes, and that those targets will be used for campaigns in the future. In the past, what was happening was CenterPoint's team, so we didn't have CRM, and also before that the way it worked was, so we had a BW system, and also we had other source systems that I mentioned earlier. So analysts used to execute reports, get data out of each of these systems, mostly large volume data dumps, and take it and put it inside their personal databases or another database that's sitting outside with limited access, and they were creating targets based on what they had, based on the data set they had in their systems. So in this scenario, they didn't have live access to any of this data, and also it took a lot of time to get all these data sets from different source systems. By the time when they created the targets, their data is already out of date. So what we did as part of this CRM segmentation was to implement the high volume segmentation using HANA. So there were 2 or 3 different options that was available. Either use your existing BW system. That's the solution that SAP provides usually. So you have all the data extracts going into the existing BW system, and the CRM segment builder connects to the queries out of the BW system. It was okay solution. I've done this in the past, but it was not flexible, and also it doesn't usually work when the number of customers go more than 1 million, because of the data communication that has to happen, and also all the merging of data from different systems that has to happen in BW. So it was not that flexible. So what we did as part of, so we decided to move into implementing CRM segmentation directly on HANA using the sidecar option. On the left side, if you see, we have the high-level architecture. So basically, we had different source systems, almost 8 source systems of data coming out of coming into the HANA database, and all of this is basically extracted using data services into the data segmentation model. And SAP has created a very simplified modeling inside HANA. Basically, when you create attributes or data sources in CRM segmentation, it automatically joins all of those extracts or all of those tables from different source systems by joining the BP number. So it automatically does it, and it's very simple to implement this as well as use it. And from personally, I was feeling very happy that we went this route, because for the first time I was able to see as the CRM segment builder work in a way it is supposed to work. And so this is an example of the screen that you can see on CRM segment builder. So on the left side you have the attribute list. This can be from any of those source systems, and you can merge them and join them by creating an attribute list. And you basically drag and drop any of these attributes into the middle pane, and it basically creates it generates a number of BPs for each of those attribute set that you pull in. So in this example, you see on top we have almost more than 10 million business partners in our system. We have more than 5.2 million customers or 10 million business partners. So for creating a target based on this kind of volume, it's so difficult. So we had HANA implement mainly for this one, and then we expanded into PAE and a few more projects. So with basically the success of this, we were able to create more projects on HANA. So in this scenario, I'm basically trying to find how many customers were enrolled in my account online. Basically, we wanted to create a marketing campaign for customers to enroll into my account. So it took me less than 3 to 4 minutes to create this whole scenario. In any scenario that you want to use, on the left, create an attribute. You want to create a target based on any of these attributes. It usually takes less than 7 minutes to do this one. And also just one more point on this one is, it's not only creating targets, but basically it can be used as an analytical tool. If you look at this scenario, even before you create a campaign, right, you can come and analyze how many customers are there in each of these scenarios. You basically identify the attributes that you want to create a target or do analysis, and then basically you can create an analysis report out of this, and that will be feeding into what kind of campaigns that needs to be done in the future. So some of the facts on customer segmentation. First time our teams had a single source of truth. I shouldn't say it's truth, but it's a single source for them to give an access. They don't need to call business analysts to get a report out of different systems. All of the data is inside this platform database, HANA database. So they were able to merge opportunities, activities, and now they were able to create campaigns more effectively and in a very short duration of time. The example I mentioned, it took less than 5 minutes. Basically, it used to take at least 2 to 3 weeks to just get data for that My Account Online, because it might not be in one system. It might be in multiple systems for all the customers. So it basically reduced from weeks to minutes to do this kind of targeting scenario. Another thing I would like to point here is, so you see BW is just one of the source systems. Only in few scenarios or few attribute lists we had BW as our source. All the other attributes, 90% of the attributes are coming directly from the source system. What does it mean, Liz? Is that you are dealing with actual data. Now you don't need to load all the data into BW for you to do a segmentation. You have access to the source systems directly, and also it's up to date. So you are not relying on an extraction layer in between. So you can deal with up to date data. And if you really want a real-time scenario, you can do a real-time scenario on this kind of more architecture. And also you see the predictive analytics engine as part of the source. What we did also was so we had so many attributes that's being generated out of the predictive analytics engine. We had almost 70 to 75 attributes that was used by the predictive analytics to understand the likeliness of the call. So those also are input for marketing segmentation. You can do analysis, you can do like target created based on those scenarios, and also we did all of those high customer call centers where can be used for segmentation now. So this slide is our future vision or the end state, I would say. So currently we have marketing segmentation and also the call center predictive analytics engine. So our vision is to have a platform that holds data from segmentation, leads, campaign, customers, call centers, interaction, and also sometimes unstructured data, and basically merge it so that we can do a what if scenario or a predictive analytics, what kind of relations and customer behavior, because HANA provides all those engines. We have the calculation engines, we have the predictive analytics engine, we have the geospatial engine in HANA, so we can use any of these engines on all of these data sets to come up with more precise predictive. In the future, we want to do, currently we are doing the next best action for the call centers. Basically based on the data set and what if scenarios, you can have the personalized messages on the screens. Intelligence routing for IVRs, that project is already in progress. Based on our PAE, we want to route the IVR in a way that it's, hey, are you calling for a high bill? Are you calling for payments? Like you made a payment, your balance is $0. So in that scenario, it basically we are going to reduce a call. And also the other scenario we want to do is the web. We want to produce dynamic content based on this information. We want to do marketing ads as well as messaging on the web. So reporting and analytics, we use BW on HANA. And in the future, we would like to do BI mobile applications too. So this has been a good vision for us, and we are working towards it. We've been successful in implementing the predictive analytics and the segmentation, which were the initial rollouts on HANA. So we already are working towards this vision, and hopefully we'll be in a good state in the future to present about this in the future. And basically that brings to the end of my presentation, and I would like to open up for questions.
Yeah, Raj, thank you for that presentation. That was very well done and very insightful. One of the questions that came forward was, as you were pulling in these predictions in the customer area, what was the frequency of correctness? Was there did you collect a percentage of accuracy?
Thank you. That's a good question. So probably I forgot to mention that one of the things that we also have is the analytics. So the predictive process does the prediction, and also we capture through the interaction record, we capture what was the actual reason the customer called. So we want to understand how good is the prediction, the PAE process is predicting, right? So we don't want, PAE might be saying it's high bill, but the customer might be calling for outage. So we have an analytical process to calculate the accuracy of the PAE. So we just went live. So we are still in the process of getting through that stabilization and working through that. And also we also understand that there is going to be a period in the first month or so for this to stabilize.
Oh, very good. So as you begin to look at this rollout with the predictive engine you've got in place now, have you seen improvements, or are you beginning to see improvements in a variety of KPIs within the call center?
So a couple of areas that we already seeing is the information that's provided to the agent. So that's been a big value from an agent perspective. So is it reducing the call handling time? Yes, it is going through that. Yes, we are seeing some improvements on that. Like I said, we are still in the initial stages of the rollout, so we don't have the actual KPIs out yet. Sometime soon we should have. But overall, the feedback from the call center is that it's a very positive feedback on what they are seeing.
Fantastic. Here's a question more to the architecture. What tool did you use for the data presentation layer?
So I'm assuming this is on the predictive analytics engine. So on the predictive analytics engine, it's still the CRM web-based presentation. The screen I showed was the CA/CEO, but we modified or customized the web screens to have that predictive process button show up, and that's how it's been visualized. If you are talking about analytics, we used Explorer and Business Objects, BW reports, or a combination of all three to do visualizations. Hope I answered.
Here's a question. What is HANA? Tech, or is its own database engine? How does it have its own rules engine? Would you like to take that, or do you?
You can go ahead. I can add the, or like SAP.
So HANA is SAP's new in-memory database. What is allowing not only CenterPoint to do, and certainly in this demonstration, is to be able to collect data in memory, be able to run analytic while in memory, which obviously does a number of things. One, it brings together a great deal of speed, as well as it provides a great deal of diversity in the data collections. The other thing that you want to look at also is HANA is a database, and it does have its own engines, but those engines are being improved upon and expanded by folks like at CenterPoint. So yeah, that was a good question. Would you like to add to that, Raj?
Yeah, just a few things. So yes, it has its own engines, right? So like Todd mentioned, it has its own engine. So one of the engine that we used in another project is we had another project of forecasting model engine, where we basically correlate weather, customer, and the 15 minutes interval data from our smart meters. And we use the predictive analytics engine library. They are basically algorithms to do forecasting. So it has its own rules. It can be using rules. You can write rules on it. And there are also engines available, like the predictive and the geospatial engines.
Mm-hmm. You know, and that kind of fills into the next question. It says that you mentioned attributes that were unique to PAE and assistant prediction. What other attributes can you list as an example of those attributes?
So some of those attributes, so I think I had if you see the information, right? So for each of these Super 8 scenarios, all of the information on the right side will be calculated as an attribute. So for example, how much is my invoice? This month's invoice, last month's invoice. How much was my last payment amount? Like you see on the example, $60. And also, how many times he contacted in the last 30 days. Each one of these information or this item in this list is an attribute. So totally we had around 72 or 75 attributes for all of the Super 8 process. So each of the Super 8 process had its own attributes.
Perfect. Thank you. Another question that's come in, Raj, is how long did it take to develop the predictive model?
So I've been getting this question. So the way I basically say is like, so this was developed as part of the CRM implementation. So our CRM implementation is an 16 to 18 months project. But if you take just the PAE piece, I would say that it should be around 4 to 6 months to implement this process. So we had, so one of the key things on developing something like this is design thinking sessions and the challenge sessions that we have to have with the business. So we spend a lot of time on understanding their scenarios and what kind of rules that needs to be added for each of these scenarios for the PAE to predict. So there's a lot of time that we spent on that. Overall, it will be around 4 to 6 months. I probably should say that. So IBM was our implementation partner for the CRM implementation. So.
Very good. Another question that's come in, Raj, is how do you create the models in HANA? What language were you writing the rules in?
So HANA has a front end called HANA Studio, which comes along with it. So whenever you install in HANA, it comes with the client, the HANA Studio. So HANA Studio is the one that you can create the models. Basically, it can be views, calculation views, and so using that model, HANA Studio, you can access the tables and create any of those scenarios inside for any development activity. And also, it's language. So you can write SQLs, you can write stored procedures. It's like a database. So like Todd mentioned, it is a database. So you have all kinds of actions that you can use SQL, stored procedures, and in addition to it, on top of it, you have a HANA modeler or HANA Studio to do the modeling.
Very good. Thanks, Raj. You know, you mentioned earlier in your presentation that you used a number of different sources of data to do the analytics and do the predictive. Are you able now to be able to use HANA for analytics for AMI?
Yes. So I like to mention, so one of the project, it's not directly on the AMI, but we did a project with SAP to do the load studies. Basically, we took our 15 minutes interval data from our data collection engine and then collaborated or correlated with our weather data and created a forecasting model using predictive algorithms and advanced data scientist models.
Well, very good. So one of the questions that came up was the development of the process of the predictive analytic and the outcome you were looking for and how you would model that in the utilization of design thinking. How did that process go? Can you describe that a little bit as to what kind of value that brought to your effort in providing this service to your company?
So the process was, like I mentioned, so we had a lot of challenge sessions with our leadership. So the requirements came from our leadership, okay? So this was not suggested by somebody else from outside. So CenterPoint's business, so we had a lot of experience in our business, and we have built a lot of innovations in intelligent grids and other stuff. So our business came up with a requirement like this. So we had a lot of challenge sessions with our leadership and also design thinking sessions with our analysts that have been handling calls for many, many years, and that transpired into the requirements. And it was a challenging solution, and we feel very good about developing something like this. And like I mentioned earlier, so providing information to the agent within 2 or 3 seconds of the call basically gives them a lot of information to interact with the customer in an intelligent and then intelligent way. So that basically improves our customer experience, and that's part of our goal and that's part of our vision. And we feel that this is helping our agents do that.
Clearly it is. You're making good movement here, no doubt. You know, another question that's come up is in terms of the models for the predictive analytic. You hit on this a little bit earlier, but maybe you would clarify this for a moment. Some of the analytic and the model for analytic, is it coming from the SAP HANA and or is it coming from CenterPoint, or is it a combination of both?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
It's where do the models for predictive analytics come from? Is some of it coming from SAP HANA, or is it all coming, or some of it coming from CenterPoint in your endeavor, or is it a little bit of both?
So technically, all the rules are developed in the BRF Plus engine in CRM. So that's where the technicality lies in. HANA has been used as a repository for this, but in the future we might use some of the predictions going into HANA. But from the requirements perspective and the rules perspective, they all came from CenterPoint's business. Hope it answered the question.
Here's a question from my experience, Raj, in utilities is, and I'll read this verbatim so we get the exact question. We have an old mainframe CRM system with data quality issues. Do you have data quality issues? Did you have to clean up the data before the project could start?
Yes, answer is yes. So we had data quality. So we had so like I mentioned, our electric system still is in mainframe, and that's our customer information system for our 2.3 million electric customers. And then we had our SAP ECC, which ISU, which holds all the gas customers. So this project was to basically combine gas customers, not combine, basically given a unified view for the agent as part of CRM, and we implemented CRM to do that. So there was a lot of time spent on data migration, and during which data quality was analyzed and valued and corrected during that process.
Very good. There was one slide, Raj, that you utilized and shown us earlier that talked about the entire landscape and the entire architecture. Can you share with us a little bit about what your next steps are? What are some of the next predictive analytics, some of the next activities that you're looking to undertake? There's the screen. What are some of the key components in terms of predictive? I see it in the circle above. Maybe you could talk just a moment about that.
Sure. So this slide is about the vision on the customer information analytics. So from a customer information analytics, the whole idea is we want to create a platform that has all the information about the customer, which is that HANA database on the bottom. On top of it, we want to use more of the analytics engines provided by HANA to do more of proactive communications and dynamic call routing and call dynamic messaging. That's one of the key things that we want to do as part of this customer information analytics. But in addition to it, from a HANA perspective, like I mentioned, we already have been using it to analyze or do load studies, more advanced analytics on our AMI smart meter data. But our exact end vision will be basically to combine our smart meter data, customer information, weather data, and correlate and basically come up with more predictive and more forecasting models and predictive models that will basically improve our customer engagement. All of this is basically going towards customer. How can we improve our customer experience and customer engagement, being it as an outage or proactive communication for an outage, planned outage, or even saying that your outage, we know that you have an outage, it will be fixed in next 20 minutes, right? So we want to basically, all of this information is guided towards improving our customer engagement and experience with CenterPoint.
Fantastic. An end goal, an end result for every utility here in the U.S. and certainly around the world. That is the end of the questions that we've got for today. Raj, would you like to add any other comments before we conclude our session today?
I think I'm good. Thank you. Only comment I have is most of the time they ask us what is our HANA strategy. So I just use the same words our CTO uses. So we have a business strategy, and basically our HANA is a good technology that helps attain our business strategy. So we find values in what is our business strategy and identify projects based on value and try to see if HANA can help us achieve those strategy.
Very good. Will you take one more question, Raj?
Sure.
One of our participants has repeated his question that I missed earlier. This is important to him, so let's get that answered. How is the drop, and I'll repeat it directly so hopefully we both can answer this completely. How is the drop down in Contact Center populated with context-sensitive list and navigated to corresponding transaction?
So I believe he's asking about that the predictive process drop down.
Yeah, I believe it is. Yes.
So like I mentioned, it's again developed in it was a customization of our CACO screen. So it's basically a button, and I believe I can get that answer. I don't have the exact answer how it was, what is the technology they used, but everything mostly was built in the same CACO transaction web technology that is used in CRM. But I can get that answer after this session.
Very good. That's perfect. And there is one last question. We had talked a little about the future and being able to look at predictive analytic engine at CenterPoint. Have you thought about, or are you looking to expand it also in the credit and collection process?
It might be a good idea. At this point, I think I don't think we have that, so it might be there in the future.
Okay.
The way I see it is, the way I see it is, it's going to be part of any of these data sets. That consumption, billing, so collections can be part of it too. So.
Well, fantastic! Congratulations to CenterPoint for taking on this new move in predictive analytics and seeing success not only in their call center for internal efficiency, but also before the customer, and being able to get the customer to resolution more quickly and get to the customer satisfaction more deeply and more richly as you move forward. From my perspective and from Raj's perspective, we want to thank everyone, and certainly want to thank CS Week Marketplace for allowing us to present today. And with that, I'll turn it back over to John. John, thank you so much.
What a great presentation, packed full of information. Raj, excellent job. Very good. Todd, appreciate your moderating and being key on this. So we are nearing the top of the hour. Should any of our attendees think of a question as we're offline, they can send us an email, and then we can get it directly to you guys and get that question answered. So if you have a question that you think of, send it to Lisa Collins at the CS Week office, and she will get that sent over. And so at this time, it's 2 o'clock. We want to thank our attendees, and this concludes our webinar. Y'all have a great day.